The unexpected guardian. The fleet approaches the void of space, trembled as 300 warships of the Kalian Empire dropped out of hyperspace. Their sleek obsidian hulls reflected the distant light of Sol as they formed a perfect battle formation around the small mining station designated Omega-7. Commander Thrak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Sovereign's Wrath, his 4 arms crossed in satisfaction as he surveyed the tactical display. Status report, Thrak commanded, his voice echoing through the bridge with the authority of someone who had conquered 17 star systems in the name of the Empire. Lieutenant Voss, his scales gleaming under the bridge lights, turned from his console. The human mining station shows minimal defensive capabilities, Commander. Our sensors detect only basic energy shields and standard mining equipment. Population reads as 47 humans. Thrak's mandibles clicked in amusement. These humans had been spreading across the galaxy like some persistent infection, establishing their little outposts on worlds the Empire had marked for expansion. Today, that expansion would continue, and these particular humans would learn the price of trespassing in Kalian space. Weapons status, Thrak inquired, though he already knew the answer. All ships report full combat readiness, sir. Plasma cannons charged. Torpedo bays loaded. We await your orders. The commander studied the mining station through the view screen. It was a modest structure, barely more than a collection of connected modules clinging to the surface of an asteroid rich in rare minerals. The humans had built it efficiently, he had to admit, but efficiency meant nothing against overwhelming firepower. Open a channel to the human station, Thrak ordered. Let us give them a chance to surrender before we demonstrate the futility of resistance. An unusual response. The communication screen flickered to life, revealing not the terrified face Thrak expected, but a young human woman with short brown hair and remarkably calm eyes. She was wearing a simple blue jumpsuit with various tools hanging from her belt and appeared to be holding some kind of beverage container. "Well, hello there," the human said cheerfully, taking a sip from her drink. "I'm Sarah Chen, station supervisor. I'm guessing you're not here for the tour." Thrak leaned forward, somewhat taken aback by the human's casual demeanor. "I am Commander Thrak of the Kalian Empire. You are trespassing in Imperial space. Surrender immediately, and your deaths will be swift." Sarah raised an eyebrow and glanced at something off-screen. "Trespassing? That's interesting. According to my records, this system was unclaimed when we filed our mining permit 3 years ago. Did you guys recently move in, or have you just been really quiet neighbors?" The audacity of this human. Thrak's scales flushed purple with rage. "The Kalian Empire has claimed this system for over 2 centuries. Your pathetic Earth government has no authority here." "Earth government?" Sarah laughed, a sound that somehow managed to be both genuine and infuriating. "Oh, Commander Thrak, you might want to update your intelligence files. We're not exactly working for Earth anymore. Haven't been for quite some time." Lieutenant Voss looked confused. "Sir, our databases show no other human governmental structure capable of interstellar operations." Sarah overheard and nodded sympathetically. "Yeah, your databases are probably about 50 years out of date. That's the problem with intelligence gathering in a galaxy this big. Things change faster than you can keep track of them." Thrak slammed one of his fists on his command chair. "Enough. You have 10 standard minutes to evacuate your station before we reduce it to cosmic dust. This is your only warning." "About that," Sarah said, her tone remaining conversational, "I'm actually the only one here right now. Sent the rest of the crew back to base for safety when our long-range sensors picked up your fleet a few days ago. But here's the thing, Commander, I can't actually leave. See, I'm in the middle of a very delicate mining operation, and if I abandon it now, we'll lose about 6 months of work. So I'm going to have to ask you to turn those impressive ships around and find somewhere else to conquer today." The bridge of the Sovereign's Wrath fell silent. Even Lieutenant Voss stopped pretending to work at his console. Finally, Thrak found his voice. Did Did this human just refuse to surrender to 300 warships? I believe she did, sir, Voss replied weakly. The first test. Sarah took another sip of her drink and checked what appeared to be a wrist-mounted device. Look, I don't want any trouble, but I got a job to do. How about we compromise? You give me another 48 hours to finish extracting this batch of trilithium, and then we can discuss territorial disputes like civilized beings. I'll even share some of my coffee with you. It's a human beverage, quite good actually. Thrak's patience finally snapped. Fire a warning shot across their bow. Perhaps that will clarify the situation for our deluded friend. The Sovereign's Wrath's forward plasma cannon charged with a wine of building energy. A brilliant green bolt lanced across space, passing just meters from the mining station's outer hull. The bolt struck a nearby asteroid, vaporizing several tons of rock in an impressive display of firepower. Sarah watched the display with what looked like professional interest rather than terror. Nice shot. Clean dispersal pattern. Good energy efficiency. Kalian plasma technology, right? We studied your weapons systems in school. Quite elegant, really. You studied our weapons? Thrak asked, momentarily forgetting his rage. Oh yes, we've made quite a study of various galactic civilizations. The Kalian Empire has some fascinating engineering principles, though I have to say, your tactical doctrine could use some updating. 300 ships for one mining station. That seems a bit excessive. Lieutenant Voss leaned toward his commander. Sir, how does she know our ship count? We haven't transmitted that information. Sarah must have overheard because she smiled. Long-range sensors, Lieutenant Voss. We've been tracking your fleet since you entered the outer system. Very impressive formation flying, by the way. Your pilots are well trained. Thrak felt a chill run down his spine. These humans had sensors capable of detailed fleet analysis at interstellar distances. That technology was supposedly beyond their capabilities. Impossible, he muttered. Our intelligence reports indicate human technology is centuries behind Imperial standards. Well, Sarah said, setting down her beverage and moving to what looked like a control panel, your intelligence might be a little outdated. We've made some significant advances in the past few decades. Would you like a demonstration? The demonstration. Before Thrak could respond, his weapons officer suddenly shouted in alarm. Sir, we're detecting massive energy buildups throughout the asteroid field. On the tactical display, dozens of previously undetected energy signatures began appearing throughout the system. What they had assumed was a simple asteroid field was revealing itself to be something far more complex. Those aren't just asteroids, Sarah explained helpfully. They're part of our mining network. Each one has been hollowed out and equipped with various systems we need for deep space operations. Refineries, sensor arrays, communication relays, that sort of thing. And weapons platforms. Thrak asked, though he dreaded the answer. Well, we prefer to call them mining enhancement tools, but I suppose they could be used defensively if necessary. We're very safety conscious in our operations. Lieutenant Voss's voice cracked as he read from his sensors. Commander, I'm detecting over 200 separate installations throughout this system. Each one is showing active energy signatures consistent with what, Lieutenant? With weapons capable of destroying Imperial warships, sir. Sarah nodded approvingly. Lieutenant Voss has excellent analytical skills. Yes, each installation can generate focused mining beams with enough power to crack open asteroids. Interestingly, those same beams are quite effective against starship hulls. Physics is funny that way. Thrak stared at the tactical display as red markers appeared around every ship in his fleet. Each vessel was being targeted by multiple installations, and the targeting was precise enough to track their movements in real time. This is impossible, he whispered. Our stealth technology should make us undetectable to human sensors. Oh, your stealth tech is very good, Sarah agreed. But it's designed to fool sensors based on electromagnetic principles. We've moved beyond that. Gravitational field detection, quantum signature analysis, hyperspace wake tracking. When you've been mining asteroids for a living, you get really good at detecting mass and energy in three-dimensional space. A new understanding. The bridge of the Sovereign's wrath had become eerily quiet. 300 of the Empire's finest warships, the terror of 17 star systems, were sitting helplessly in a trap they hadn't even seen until it was too late. "What do you want?" Thrak asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I told you already," Sarah replied patiently. "I want to finish my mining operation. After that, I'd be happy to discuss territorial claims with proper diplomatic representatives. But I should warn you, if you're planning to claim this system, you'll need to file the appropriate paperwork with the Colonial Administration Authority. They're very particular about documentation." The Colonial Administration Authority, the human organization that actually governs our interstellar operations. Earth is lovely, but it's mainly a cultural center these days. The real work of human expansion is handled by the colonies themselves, and we've been quite busy for the past several decades. Thrak's mind reeled. Everything the Empire thought it knew about humanity was wrong. They weren't a primitive species just beginning to explore space. They were already out here, established, organized, and apparently far more technologically advanced than Imperial intelligence had believed. "How many systems do you control?" he asked. Sarah paused, apparently calculating. "Directly. About 47 systems with major installations, but we have mining operations, research stations, and various facilities in over 300 systems throughout this galactic arm. We're not really into the whole conquest thing, though. We prefer economic development and scientific research." 300 systems, Lieutenant Voss repeated in a daze. "Give or take. It's hard to keep track sometimes. Human organizations tend to be pretty autonomous. As long as they follow basic safety protocols and pay their taxes, the authority doesn't micromanage local operations." The choice. Thrak looked around his bridge at his officers. These were veteran warriors who had fought beside him through dozens of campaigns. They had faced enemy fleets, navigated political intrigue, and conquered worlds in the name of the Empire, but none of them had ever encountered anything like this. "Commander," his communications officer spoke up quietly, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Imperial Command." "Put it through," Thrak ordered, though he suspected he knew what it would contain. The stern face of Admiral Crix appeared on screen, his expression thunderous. "Commander Thrak, what is the meaning of this delay? Our long-range sensors show your fleet stationary in the target system. Why haven't you eliminated the human outpost?" Thrak glanced at Sarah, who had apparently muted her transmission but was watching with interest. "Admiral, the situation is more complex than our intelligence indicated. The humans have significantly more advanced capabilities than we were led to believe." "Nonsense. They're a primitive species barely capable of interstellar travel. Destroy them immediately." "Sir, respectfully, they have us completely surrounded with weapons capable of destroying our entire fleet. Our intelligence was fundamentally flawed." Admiral Crix's scales flushed with rage. "Are you telling me that 300 Imperial warships are being held at bay by a single human mining station?" 47 mining installations, Thrak corrected quietly. "And yes, sir, that's exactly what I'm telling you." The price of underestimation. Imperial escalation. The silence that followed Admiral Crix's strangled expression of rage lasted for nearly 30 seconds. When he finally spoke, his voice was deadly quiet. "Stand by, Commander Thrak. Do not engage the humans until you receive further orders." The transmission ended, leaving Thrak staring at a blank screen. He had been in the Imperial Navy for over 40 years, and he had never seen an admiral look quite that particular shade of purple. "Well," Sarah's voice cut through the tension as she reactivated the communication channel. "That seemed to go well. Your admiral looks like he's having a busy day." "How did you?" Thrak began, then stopped himself. Of course they had monitored the Imperial communication. These humans seemed capable of monitoring everything. "Sorry about eavesdropping," Sarah said, though she didn't sound particularly sorry. We make it a policy to keep track of potentially hostile communications in our operational areas. Your admiral seems like an interesting person. Very passionate. Lieutenant Voss leaned over to his commander. Sir, our sensors are detecting massive hyperspace distortions at the edge of the system. Something big is coming. Sarah nodded, apparently seeing the same readings. Looks like your friends are calling for backup. That's probably not a good sign for any of us. Thrak felt a cold certainty settle in his stomach. He knew Admiral Crix, and he knew the Admiral's reputation for solving problems with overwhelming force. Human, I suggest you evacuate immediately. What's coming will make my fleet look like a diplomatic escort. Thanks for the warning, Sarah replied. But I really can't leave in the middle of a trilithium extraction. Do you have any idea how volatile this stuff is when the molecular bonds are partially dissolved? If I stop the process now, we could have a chain reaction that would turn this entire asteroid field into a small star. You're mining trilithium? Thrak asked in horror. Trilithium was one of the most dangerous substances in the galaxy, used primarily in planet-killing weapons. Are you insane? Relax, Commander. We've been mining trilithium safely for over 20 years. It's all about proper containment and molecular stability. Though I admit, having 300 warships shooting at me while I'm trying to maintain quantum field alignment would be problematic. The Imperial response. The hyperspace distortions resolved into ships. Not hundreds this time, but thousands. The Second Imperial Fleet had arrived, led by Admiral Crix himself aboard the massive dreadnought Eternal Dominion. The new arrivals took up positions throughout the system, surrounding not just the mining station, but the entire asteroid field. This is Admiral Crix of the Kalian Empire, came the broadcast on all frequencies. I am speaking to the human currently holding Imperial forces hostage. You have exactly 1 standard hour to surrender yourself and provide full technical specifications for all weapon systems in this system. Failure to comply will result in the complete sterilization of everything within a 10 light-hour radius. Sarah studied her instruments thoughtfully. He's not kidding about the sterilization part. That's quite an impressive fleet he's brought. Must be expensive to deploy that many ships for one mining operation. Nearly 3,000 vessels, Thrak said quietly. The largest Imperial fleet deployment in 50 years. You should be honored. I'm mostly concerned about the operational costs, Sarah replied. Do you have any idea what it takes to fuel and supply 3,000 warships? The logistics alone must be staggering. Before Thrak could respond, new alarms sounded across his bridge. Sir, his sensor operator called out, we're detecting new hyperspace signatures. Multiple fleets approaching from different vectors. Sarah's expression grew more serious. Oh, that's not good. More Imperial reinforcements? Thrak asked. No, Commander. Those are human ships. The real humanity. What emerged from hyperspace defied everything the Kalians thought they knew about human capabilities. 5 separate fleets, each consisting of ships unlike anything in Imperial databases. They weren't the crude, angular vessels that Imperial intelligence had described. These ships were elegant, flowing designs that seemed to bend light around their hulls. More importantly, they moved with a precision and coordination that spoke of advanced artificial intelligence integration. This is Admiral Sarah Martins of the Colonial Defense Force, came a new transmission. I apologize for the delay in responding to the situation, but we were coordinating with several other colonial governments to ensure we had the full picture before acting. Sarah Chen looked up from her mining controls. Oh good, the cavalry's here. Hi, Admiral Martinez. I'm Sarah Chen, Omega Mining Consortium. Sorry to drag you all the way out here, but these Kalian folks seem to have gotten some incorrect information about our territorial status. So I understand, Sarah. We've been monitoring the situation. Commander Thrak, Admiral Crix, I'm Admiral Martinez. I think we need to have a conversation. Admiral Crix's face appeared on screen, his expression shifting between rage and confusion. What is the meaning of this? Our intelligence reports indicated humanity possessed no military fleet capable of interstellar operations. Admiral Martinez appeared on the screen, a middle-aged woman with graying hair and eyes that held the calm authority of someone accustomed to command. Admiral Crix, your intelligence is about 40 years out of date. Humanity has been quietly expanding and developing throughout this galactic arm for quite some time. We generally prefer to avoid contact with aggressive civilizations until we're better prepared for diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations? Crix sputtered. You're mining in Imperial space. Actually, Admiral Martinez replied calmly, you're currently in Colonial Authority space. This entire region was claimed and developed by human colonies over the past several decades. We have extensive documentation if you'd like to review our territorial filing. Thrax stared at his tactical display. The 5 human fleets had arranged themselves in a complex formation that somehow managed to bracket every Imperial ship without appearing overtly threatening. It was a masterwork of tactical positioning. How many ships do you have? He asked quietly. In this immediate area, about 1,500 combat vessels, Admiral Martinez replied. But I should clarify, Commander, that these aren't primarily military ships. Most of our fleet consists of multi-role vessels designed for exploration, construction, and resource extraction that can be configured for defensive operations when necessary. The truth revealed. Admiral Crix's composure finally cracked completely. This is impossible. Humanity is a primitive species. You have barely achieved interstellar travel. Admiral, Sarah Chen interjected from her mining station. I think I see the problem. Your intelligence is based on Earth, isn't it? You've been watching our home world and assuming that represented all of human civilization. Of course we have. Earth is your capital world. Admiral Martinez smiled grimly. Admiral Crix, Earth is our cultural homeland, but it stopped being our center of government or technology about 30 years ago. The Colonial Authority was established specifically because Earth's government couldn't effectively manage interstellar expansion. We've been operating independently ever since. Sarah Chen nodded agreement. Earth is lovely for vacations and historical research, but the real work of human civilization happens out here in the colonies. We've got research stations pushing the boundaries of physics, manufacturing centers that can build anything we need, and mining operations extracting resources from systems the Empire has never even discovered. Thrak felt the last of his tactical certainty crumble. How many systems do you actually control? Define control, Admiral Martinez replied. We have major installations in over 400 systems throughout this galactic arm. We have active operations in over 1,000 systems, and we have exploratory missions in regions of space your empire has never even mapped. That's impossible. Our expansion scouts would have detected such extensive operations. Your expansion scouts, Admiral Martinez said gently, have been carefully guided away from our major operational areas for decades. We found it much easier to avoid contact with aggressive civilizations than to fight them. But when you threaten our people directly, as you've done today, we respond. The demonstration of power. Admiral Crix seemed to be struggling with the fundamental revision of reality being presented to him. Even if what you claim is true, you cannot possibly match the military might of the Kalian Empire. We have conquered 17 star systems. 17 systems, Admiral Martinez mused. That's quite impressive. Though I should mention, Admiral, that we've been quietly observing your expansion for some time. Did you know that 6 of those systems you conquered were actually abandoned Colonial Authority research stations? The silence that followed was profound. We evacuated them when our long-range sensors detected your fleets approaching. It seemed easier to let you claim empty systems than to start an interstellar war over some outdated research facilities. Sarah Chen looked up from her instruments. Actually, that explains some things. We always wondered why the Empire's expansion suddenly accelerated in certain sectors. You guys were essentially conquering our garbage dumps. Admiral Crix looked like he was having trouble breathing. You deliberately let us claim your territory." "Well, we weren't using those particular systems anymore," Admiral Martinez explained. "Our technology had advanced to the point where those old research stations were obsolete. We figured if conquering them made you happy and kept you away from our active operations, everyone won. Though we did leave some monitoring equipment behind to keep track of what you were doing." Thrak suddenly understood the implications. "You've been spying on Imperial operations for decades." "Monitoring," Admiral Martinez corrected. "We prefer to think of it as monitoring. We've learned quite a lot about Kalian culture, technology, and military doctrine. Fascinating civilization, actually. Very hierarchical, strong warrior traditions, impressive engineering capabilities. Though your intelligence gathering could use some work." The resolution. Admiral Crix stared at the tactical display, showing human ships casually maintaining position around his entire fleet. 3,000 Imperial warships, the pride of the Empire, were sitting helplessly in space, while a human mining engineer finished extracting trilithium and chatted casually with their military commanders. "What do you want?" he finally asked, his voice hollow. "Honestly," Admiral Martinez replied, "we want to finish this mining operation safely, establish proper diplomatic channels between our governments, and hopefully avoid any unnecessary conflict. The galaxy is big enough for both of our civilizations." Sarah Chen looked up from her controls. "Plus, I've got about 6 hours left on this extraction, and if I don't complete it properly, we'll have a trilithium containment breach that could sterilize this entire star system. So there's that." 6 hours, Admiral Crix repeated weakly, "give or take. Trilithium is tricky stuff, but the good news is, once I'm done, we can have a nice diplomatic meeting." Admiral Martinez brought some excellent coffee from the Centauri colonies, much better than the stuff we get out here in the mining territories. Thrak found himself almost laughing at the surreal nature of the situation. "Commander," he said to Admiral Martinez, "what happens now?" Now we establish proper diplomatic protocols. The colonial authority has been wanting to make formal contact with the Kalian Empire for quite some time. We have a great deal we could offer each other: advanced technology sharing, cultural exchange, joint exploration missions to unexplored regions of the galaxy. And if the Empire refuses?" Admiral Martinez's expression grew serious. "Then we continue our policy of avoiding contact and protecting our territory. But I hope it doesn't come to that. From what we've observed, the Kalian Empire has many admirable qualities. With proper communication, I believe our civilizations could coexist peacefully and profitably." Epilogue. A new galaxy. 6 months later, Commander Thrak stood on the observation deck of the newly established Kalian human diplomatic station orbiting the planet New Geneva in the Centauri system. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he could see ships from both civilizations moving in careful coordination, their crews working together on joint scientific missions. The transformation had been remarkable. Once the Empire understood the true scope of human civilization, the dynamics of galactic politics had shifted completely. The humans offered advanced technology in exchange for Kalian raw materials and manufacturing expertise. The Kalians gained access to scientific knowledge that advanced their own civilization by centuries, while the humans gained trading partners and allies in their expansion into unexplored regions of the galaxy. "Strange how things work out," Sarah Chen said, approaching with 2 cups of that ubiquitous human beverage. She had been promoted to Director of Colonial Imperial Relations, a position that apparently involved a great deal of coffee consumption and casual conversation that somehow resolved complex interstellar disputes. "Indeed," Thrak replied, accepting the cup gratefully. He had developed quite a taste for coffee during the negotiations. To think that one mining operation could change the course of galactic history. "Well," Sarah smiled, "that's humans for you. We tend to be full of surprises. Though I have to admit, you Kalians have been pretty adaptable yourselves. Not every civilization could adjust so quickly to discovering they've been fundamentally wrong about their neighbors." Thrak considered this as he watched a joint human-Kalian research vessel prepare for departure to explore a newly discovered star cluster. Perhaps that's what makes a civilization truly advanced. Not the power to conquer, but the wisdom to adapt and grow. Sarah raised her coffee cup in a toast to adaptation and growth, and to the most interesting mining operation in galactic history. As they clinked their cups together, Thrak reflected on how one human with a mining laser and a coffee habit had taught the Kalian Empire that the galaxy was far more complex and interesting than they had ever imagined. And somehow, that lesson had made both civilizations stronger. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the station's windows, full of possibilities that neither species could have imagined alone, but might discover together.